Preppers, this is Irish Prepper. Hopping on today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the second part of stealth prepping. Hiding in plain sight during a crisis. Okay, this is going to be part 2. Basically, what I'm going to get at is that stealth is, I kind of said this before, it's the act of proceeding furtively. Okay. Basically, and what that means, what I mean by that is secretly. Okay, and you want to become almost imperceptible to others in the process. Okay, this can be an invaluable skill in a survival situation. When attempting to avoid having your activities being noticed or attracting what may be the unwanted attention of others, people are usually motivated by a firm belief that there is a high probability that the discovery of their actions or movements will lead to the possibility of further trouble. Okay? In a survival situation, additional troubles are the last thing you need. Okay? So you need to protect yourself. And this is a good way of doing that. Okay? The practical application of stealth in your prepping activities is going to require some effort on your part, but doesn't necessarily have to become like a burden. Okay? During normal times, most people aren't very attentive. Okay? And they're not going to pay any attention at all, little attention at all, okay, to you or your activities. Okay, the exact opposite is likely to occur during a crisis. Many people will panic and start to act irrationally and will become capable of acts that they wouldn't ever consider during a normal situation. It is important to remember that in the majority of cases, the less people know about you and your activities, the safer you and your family will be during a crisis. There seems to be quite a number of people who are currently interested in the different things preppers are doing to get prepared. This is especially true in light of some of the weird things that are going on in our world right now. All the earthquakes and volcanoes and governments collapsing and banks collapsing, and all that stuff. So basically, all that stuff is leading people to become more aware of the situations around us and who they might be able to lean on, okay? Because they're not doing that themselves. So while their interest in your activities might seem sincere, if they start to ask you, hey, what are you doing? It might not be, or it may be in your best interest, or may not be in your best interest, to give out too many details, okay? With a little effort and some common sense, there are several things you can start to do that will increase the amount of stealth in your prepping activities. One of the easiest ways, and this is going to be basically my main example, or my one example, is to how to incorporate stealth into your prepping, or your prepping lifestyle, is to start paying cash for needed items. Whenever you're doing some prepping, grocery shopping or whatever, and I'm talking about like case lot sales and stuff like that. I live in Utah, so it's not too weird because most people, everybody has big families. The church is very pronounced upon being prepared, having emergency food supplies and all that stuff. And so it's not too weird when you go to the case lot sales at Macy's or Harmon's or whatever stores having them, and you're just loading up. So it's not too weird, but other places, this that might be different. So if you are shopping like that, you do want to pay cash for the needed items. Okay, cash transactions are extremely difficult to trace and don't leave traces of you or your activities. Okay, although only a partial number of your even though only part of your credit card or debit card number usually shows up on your receipt, your signature is always pretty much going to be always going to be easy to read. Okay, that credit or debit purchase will also leave a record of what, where, and how much you may have purchased for anyone that may become interested in you or your activities. Another simple thing you can do is to maintain a little stealth in your prepping is to split big purchases into smaller ones by simply using 2 shopping carts instead of 1. You can use one cart and another family member can use a second cart. depending on the number of family members available to help, you could even use additional cards. So, but you know, don't forget to go to different registers when checking out, and remember to pay cash if it's possible. You should also shop at random times and stores if you can, whenever possible, to avoid unwanted attention, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of prepping very quickly. Okay, and you're just going to invest heavily in this. People are going to see this. Okay, you're going to become their new favorite customer coming through their line, through that cashier. Okay, you should probably avoid large purchases at places where you may already be known. Okay, if they know your name, a lot of the grocery stores, they try to know you by name. Okay, so not necessarily a good thing. It's kind of nice to be known, but for this purpose, that's not the best circumstances to be having. So, but you can also have a handy excuse available in case somebody does start to try to inquire about what your purchases or your activities, whatever you're doing. Basically, you can keep the answer simple and uncomplicated, so that you don't arouse their curiosity in case they're just making small talk. In most cases, they won't give you or your activities a second thought. Basically, you could use the answer, the "I'm in charge of the meal for the family reunion this year" excuse, or the answer. Okay, this seems to work very well in all circumstances. Okay, so that's a big one. Okay, unless it's the middle of winter, then they're going to be, they want to know more. You're doing in the middle of winter, blah blah blah. So might want to think up a different one for that. Okay, but I'm going to leave you with another quote from Sun Tzu, but it says, "Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt." Okay, things seem to be changing quite rapidly nowadays. So, are you prepared to start practicing a little stealth prepping? Okay, I'll leave you with that. This is Irish Prepper, and you guys have a nice night. Thanks for tuning in.